Okay, y'all. Grown and gospel. I told you I was coming to back. My lips are all chapped, so hold on. And I'm not putting more red lipstick on. Um, okay. Grown and gospel, episode two, season one, episode two. Um, I actually did take a few notes, and I'm gonna say that this show is so triggering on so many levels, but um, okay. My mother was the kind of woman who would put a lot into me. And um, she would go without so that I wouldn't. She was a single mom and and I okay, this is gonna sound really weird. Okay. I give a lot to my children. And my mother still has that same mentality that she will go without um for my kids, right? But I do a lot for my children for sure. And I know that I could do way better budgeting. I am not the best budget person. And unfortunately, I married a man who's not good at budgeting either. Um, it would have been better to marry if my husband is a better budgeter. Oh, my hair is just all over the place. Right? My husband was a better budgeter than me. But it did not work out that way. But but I'm a better budgeter than my mother, so there is some growth. Um, I do make sacrifices for sure. I don't make too many sacrifices as much as I could. Um, Primarily because I don't have to, but I know that if I budget it better, then I, things would be a little different. I say all this, um, but I also am not the, I do not spend I do spend a lot on a wardrobe, but my wardrobe is very chill and relaxed. And I think part of that is because of the weight that I've gained from having children. And even though, you know, I go a little bit up and down from working out, I'm still not where I would like to be. And so I don't really spend a lot of money on clothes and choose to get dressed up. I spend a lot more money on just kind of casual fit. With all that being said, I was never I'm trying to think, how can I say this? In church, um, I really, I've always been a name brand chick. I mean, you can look, I'm gonna take my video thing off, stop the blur background. Okay, so I've reorganized my room, my office so that my some of my purses, some of my bags are on my top, my first two rows of where my books are, because most of my books are now in my office. Like my bag, my Michael Kors, my Marc Jacobs tote collection is fierce. So I am a name brand person. But um, people in the church can be I say all this is I'm doing a purpose. They are very critical. And it's really unfortunate because it can be such a turnoff. And even and I say that because for me, um, people in the church being critical about me never fazed me. It never bothered me. And especially when I became an adult, part of that is because not necessarily because of confidence. Well, I guess part of it, I guess, would be confidence. I'm cool with myself enough to where you criticizing me is you looking at something you it's really a fault in yourself. And the kind of gossip that would happen around the church, it still didn't faze me. Now, it would bother my mother. And my mother would be the one who would bite back. And I'd be like, and I would stop my mother. I'd be like, Mom, what are we doing? Why are we doing this? And what do I get over? And I always come back to, what am I getting out if I shade you back? And I would explain that this is what some people do. Like the church, and I also, you really have to pause and think back about Black people's history of the church. There was a time that the church was the centerpiece of Black people's space because it was the only place that Black people were allowed to be. You could only congregate at the church. And so not, during slavery. And so then post slavery, the church became the thing. Even up to the Civil War, Civil Rights Movement, it was the church of the cornerstone. People come to the church. And even to this day, I still believe that if people begin to start breaking down, oh, I have a problem, oh, I need to do this, oh, I need to do that, they're still going to come to that space of, where do you think in your community could you go to ask for some type of need? They may not go to the local church, like they may not feel as comfortable doing that as they did when I was growing up or even my mother was growing up. They definitely will go to a large church. The church, even in the most heathenist person, has for a Black people means is a soft spot and means something. It can be absolutely a source of hurt, but it has such an important aspect in the Black experience. And so I say that because it used to be at one point, though, the entire social scene. And I teach a class in English, and it's an English class, and we deal with the history of Black um, of Black activism in sports. And when we get to the bowling section, they talk about how um, bowling became so significant in Black people because they would put bowling alleys in the basements of churches, and people would come to church. You come to church, you go. I mean, when I was growing up, you go to church all day on a Sunday, and then it would be prayer is Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Um, Bible study is on a Tuesday, and sometimes you have Friday night service, and then choir rehearsals on a Thursday, or sometimes even Saturday morning. Church was meant to occupy all of your space and time because it would prevent you from sinning. It also was you had nothing you had no other outlet, and it was safe. So there was no entertainment. So it was like, oh, kids come, if it was uh whatever gathering, sometimes Girl Scouts would then be Girl Scout trips, have it at the church. Bowling, have it at the church. Like, I mean, let's play baseball, have it at the church. It was carnival, have it at the church. Like, I mean, church was the centerpiece in Black communities. But like I said, it still is a judgmental place, and it didn't bother me, this judgmental stuff, but I overheard the adults talk, and I absolutely and I even when adults would try to come up to me and tell me about certain things about how I would look. One minister, he gave a whole thing. He gave a whole um what do you call it? Preached about girls needing to stay looking like girls. And how do you do that? They need to keep their because I had stockings on and I was 12, like 10, 12 years old. And he's like, well, little girls need to stay little girls, but keep your socks with some ruffles on it. I'm sorry, as a 10-year-old, I was not wearing socks with ruffles. So, and I listened to it. But here's the thing, it would bother my mother, of course, because she's talking about the baby. And I guess it would bother me too, somewhat. But see, I would be the one. I don't think for me, it was like, okay. And it still rubbed off it rubbed off my back. Um, I think I would probably say something though. Like, I'm gonna need you to stop talking about my kids and as you're speaking and talking about the Lord spoke to you. No, 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 the Lord didn't talk to you. Anyway, I'm getting off topic, but I'm on topic, but I'm saying this as a precursor to why I think this show is good, it's triggering, and um Elijah's a mess. So let's get into it. Elijah and Tasha, to be frank, it's just that Tasha is not as she's subtly rude, whereas Elijah is rude as all get out. So that's how we even start the show. Everyone seems to be picking on this poor Bree, and I think that I did not know that Bree and Jay used to date. Tasha spilled the beans on that one. So clearly there's a soft spot that Jay has. But I do admit that Jay is absolutely correct. She is in her mid 30s now. She cannot be blaming her father for not helping her as much. However, I agree, but I think that you can say that because your dad has been in your life and present the entirety of your life. Bree's dad has not been present physically and clearly financially the entirety of her life. And I don't think there is a cutoff for when you stop helping your kids. I don't see that. And I don't understand how Fred Hammond isn't doing more. And clearly she is, and this hurts my heart, man. Fred Hammond, seeing Bree cry over being triggered when another man talks about her because she's trying to figure out because she has daddy issues. It's just heart-wrenching and heartbreaking. And would Elijah know that that component would be a trigger for her? No, but he doesn't have to be rude as all get out. So Elijah and Tasha from the get-go, they Tasha Jay suggested Tasha help her go furniture shopping. Tasha brings Elijah. Elijah is like, oh, we need to get her some clothes. Tasha's like, yeah, because she's looking like, you know, a bank teller. I was like, first of all, and Elijah's like, yeah, you looking like you from Kansas City. I do appreciate that Bria is like, look, this Forever 21 clothes. Okay, first of all, I will admit that, you know, I never understood Forever 21. Forever 21's clothes were like wash once, throw them away. I never understood buying Forever 21 clothes in the first place, but I appreciate that Brie was, ran down her outfit and her clothes, and yeah, she's shopping within her means, and she ain't got it. And Elijah wants her to manifest until you have it. Okay, how would you manifest? She ain't got it. I mean, I guess she can buy secondhand stuff from she can secondhand stuff or rent stuff. Or, I guess you could be like, I'm gonna need you to go to outlets or something to try to buy name brand. But or he's like, can we get something eclectic? He wants her to get a look, and maybe her look is cheap. And look, I think we should take her for what she is. And I get that. Maybe instead of shading her all the time, how about we hook her up with a real legit stylist that can shop and find things for her within her means, some professional development. What she needs is help in curating her look, maybe curating her presence, getting her career, launch start, all of those things. Instead of y'all talking about her behind her back. Jay's the only one that seems to be compassionate. The rest of y'all are just like, you look whack. Elijah keeps trying to shade her constantly, told her to manifest and change your mindset because being broke is a mindset. No, I ain't got it. I ain't got it. Now she's looking at stuff and she's like, yeah, I can't afford $2,000 for a couch. By the way, $2,000 for a couch is cheap. And so, and I don't know what kind of store sells clothes and couches right next to each other. Yeah. And to be fair, I know this is Detroit, I get this, but not many people are walking around with a fur. Like, I don't own a fur. I live in California. And even if I walked around with the fur in California, I have a faux fur, Ivy Park. But if I walked around with a legit fur, it'd probably be destroyed because like it is absolutely unacceptable in California to wear, especially Southern California, to wear a fur. And I'd be hot, and I would have no idea how to take care of this because I know there's storage. So, and then by the way, hardly anybody wears fake fur out here because even though it's been getting cold, and even though I do have a faux fur jacket, I look awkward as hell when I wear it. Um, uh, so this whole thing is just a little bit much. I appreciate Bree standing up for herself, like, let me just stop coming for me. And then when she looked at him and was like, tell me your legacy. And so Elijah got offended. I appreciate that Tasha was trying to step in and be like, okay, can we not do this? But what, because he responded like, I don't need my family's name, to make me a name. And she's like, okay, so I guess trending is the thing that you need to do in order to do something. And I was just like, Bree, talk that ish because Elijah has pushed your buttons a lot. Okay. Elijah goes to the show. He's having the show. He's his independent artist. He's supposed to be filming his movie video. Not movie video, his music video. He's upset hitting the balloons because he didn't like the balloons. I was like, okay, so he is a bona fide diva to the point that, and she even showed up for this, right? Go Bree, do you? But I guess you need to show up in scenes because you do need a check too. But anywho, he passes out in the middle of the thing. And then I laughed so hard when he's like, well, we need to finish this video because everybody's paid for this. I'm not wasting my money. I died, understood, and died. Um, he leaves to go, and then when he passes out, like nobody believes it. Then they finally took him out, brought him back in 6 hours later after he had all of that. Somehow they had discharged him, and he wants to finish the music video. I get it. I understand. Um, we got introduced to a new character, Shayna, with Jay. They having lunch, and Jay's trying to figure out what the issue is between Shayna and Tasha, his sister. He don't get it, and Shayna sounds gorgeous. She's pregnant. Um, I didn't quite get it. I guess they're accusing her of saying different things about one of the girls' marriages. That sounds really childish, but okay. And the thing is, the funniest thing is that they're getting upset because they think that she's gossiping about them when that's all you doing is gossiping on this show. So I was like, okay, okay, we're big mad on something that you seem to be doing yourself. So you can take it, you can dish it, but you can't take it. Gotcha. Just like a lot of people. Jay, Tasha, and I think it's also Nikki. They were all sitting around at Nikki's house. Of course, he comes in, Jay plays the piano. I really, really like Jay. I think Jay is the coolest guy on the show. He seems to not be the messiest one, the most judgmental. I love when they were just getting together to play cards. And he was like, yeah, I gamble like a couple bucks with Tonk. It's like, Tonk. I used to play Tonk. I don't even know. I don't think I know how to play anymore, but I used to play Tonk with my uncle. And we played all the time. Um, And I used to talk to people all the time about like, oh, let's play. When they'd be like, oh, we're gonna play cards, I was like, okay, let's play Tonk. And no one knew how to play Tonk. And so when I heard him say he playing Tonk, I was like, oh my heart, that is so cool to see somebody who knows how to play Tonk. Anyway, okay, moving on. Um, the birthday party. Man, okay. This is the judgmental one. To be fair, the birthday party was was not appropriate for someone in their mid 30s. I mean, it was not what you would expect. I mean, I think what she should have done, it definitely was reading basement of some our after church birthday party. And Jay made a comment about how like her family wasn't invited. And I was just thinking that what she's trying to do is to impress y'all. What she should have done is had like a birthday dinner at a restaurant or something for cocktails. But what she was trying to do is save herself a couple of $2 because it was pizza and a cake. And then they had the audacity to have an event planner. Hey, that I was like, ma'am, event planner? You don't want to put your name out there for this. Because what did you plan? You picked up the cake from the grocery store and you ordered some pizza from Little Caesars for 30 and 40-year-old individuals? Ma'am, stop. You could have had this at Fridays. You could have had this. I mean, this is not it. But and you see the crew that you hanging out with. This is what's so bothersome about this is that we are in this place, these church folks. The crew is judgmental times 20. So you just giving them stuff to talk and tease you about. That's what I don't understand. So Tasha, so they give them the gifts. So the gifts. Tasha gives her an envelope of cash. I was like, Bree, ma'am, I mean, I won't turn down cash either. But she just took you shopping. You up here saying that's too expensive for my taste. Do you realize that she is leading you by just being like, I was gonna give you a gift, but I here's some money. She broke. Then Elijah gives you these boots, nice looking boots, for sure. She puts the boots on. Then Elijah proceeds to throw your boots in the trash. Then Tasha goes, see, this is the shady thing that Tasha says. She says, Elijah, you know you wrong for putting those boots in the trash because she likes those. She paid for those boots with the little money she has. Girl, I was like, you know what? Y'all are so wrong for this. Like, because even though Elijah is wrong for putting the boots in the trash, y'all all feel the same way. Jay's out here trying to go catch. So she's crying, talking about how she you know, how she is. And Elijah's like, I'm just helping her out, taking out the trash. She was not trying to throw her boots in the trash. And I was with them. I was like, this is not okay. You're rude for doing it. And it clearly was a trigger for her. And it was nice that the women were out there trying to support her. But you guys are just as, you ain't got to say that she paid for this with the little money she has. Come on now. Just rude. Anyway, um, this is, I mean, the episodes are good, but it's just so shady. And it's just so hard to watch this, and this is all centered around people in the church, like just so shady. And it makes you feel away, man. So, um, I'm gonna keep watching it, I'm gonna keep reviewing it, but oh gosh, it's hard to watch. See you next time.